Farris. I'm otherwise known as the Crazy Casserole Lady, and today we are going to be making my sweet potato knot pie, which is my savory take on a candied sweet potato dish, which is often found gracing the Thanksgiving dinner tables in homes in the South and the Midwest. My dad makes candied sweet potatoes, and they're delicious, but they are from a can. He uses canned sweet potatoes and marshmallows and brown sugar. And while we're going for a similar color scheme, we're actually going to be making a savory dish with 5 to 6 medium sweet potatoes, 1 whole white onion, a green pepper of your choice. Now, if I were making this for my family, I would use a green bell pepper because they don't like spicy food. But if you like more heat in your dishes, I would use a jalapeno pepper or a habanero pepper. The heat will cook out of the jalapeno pepper, so if you want something really spicy, I would use a habanero. But for today, we're gonna use 1 green bell pepper, finely chopped, and 6 to 8 ounces of goat cheese, crumbled. Or as much goat cheese as you want, actually, because as far as I'm concerned, there is no such thing as too much cheese. So to start, like I said, you will need 1 whole sweet potato, and that will be peeled and thinly sliced. It doesn't have to be perfect, but fairly thin is good. Your large white onion should be fairly finely chopped, as should your green pepper. You will also need olive oil and sea salt, and 1 2-quart casserole dish. Because we're going to be using olive oil kind of sloppily in here, you do not need to grease or butter your casserole dish. So to start this really simple, delicious, savory sweet potato dish, we're going to start with just a handful of the sliced sweet potatoes, and we'll just throw them on the bottom of the dish. Make a layer overlapping a little. It doesn't have to be fancy or organized in any way because it's all going to get mushed up and go in your mouth anyway. So just cover the bottom of the dish with a layer of the sweet potatoes. Then we're just going to use a little drizzle of olive oil, I guess extra virgin olive oil, and just put your finger over the cap and drizzle a little bit on there. You can put a lot or a little. I never really measure the olive oil when I use it, and sometimes there's a little bit left in the bottom of the dish, and that's not really a bad thing. After the olive oil, you're just going to take a handful of your green pepper and do a layer over the sweet potatoes. Next, a handful of onions over the green peppers. Again, it doesn't have to be fancy, just making a layer of onion. And the oven is ready. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Next, we're going to crumble about 1 ounce of goat cheese over the top of what's already in the casserole dish. And once you have that in there, you're going to take a pinch or 2 of sea salt and sprinkle it over the top. Then we're going to repeat these layers until we reach the top of the dish. We want to end it with a layer of sweet potatoes and a drizzle of olive oil. Then cover the dish, put it into a 400-degree oven for about 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes, or until a fork goes all the way through the sweet potatoes. And then we're going to put some more goat cheese on it and bake it a little longer. And these potatoes will cook down. This dish will reduce, so feel free to just squeeze it in there. Pack it in. For the top layer, we're just going to do a layer of sweet potato slices with a little more olive oil. We're going to put more cheese on it later, but not yet. We want the potato to cook all the way through. And if you have cheese on the top, right when it goes in the oven, it's more likely to get burned. And while you want your cheese to be nice and melted, and in certain casseroles you want your cheese to be crispy, but not with the goat cheese, we just want the potatoes to cook. So we're going to do a layer of potatoes on top, pack it in there, and then another drizzle of olive oil. If you really like salt, you can do another pinch. sea salt or 2. So now that the casserole has been in the oven for about 1 hour and 15 minutes, we're going to check on it and make sure that a fork goes all the way through the potatoes. And if so, we're going to put a little more goat cheese on the top and stick it back in uncovered for about 15 minutes. So let's just see if it's ready. I have my handy dandy little oven puller here. When we're working with a 400-degree oven, it comes in very handy. And for a person who bakes a lot, I don't have any oven mitts, surprisingly. So I have a silicone pad and a kind of damp dish rag, which is probably dangerous. Steamy. Oh, that looks beautiful. It's bubbling, the onions are cooked, and the peppers are cooked. Let's see. Oh, yeah. That is perfect. All right, so now that the casserole is cooked, we're just gonna cover the top with some more goat cheese, because all casseroles that have cheese should have a cheesy layer on top, unless you're putting French fried onions or something on top. All right, now that there's cheese on top, we're gonna put it back in the oven uncovered for 10 to 15 minutes or until it starts to kind of melt and brown on top. Oh, that's perfect. It's bubbly and the goat cheese is starting to brown on top. All right, this looks just about perfect. It's crusty around the edges and the goat cheese is brown on top and the whole thing is bubbly. So I know I should let it sit for a minute, but I think I'm just gonna eat some of it. Yum, everything's perfectly cooked. Not the most colorful dish in the world, but it sure looks better than candied sweet potatoes with marshmallows and brown sugar. All right, this is really hot. Oh, it's perfect. It's really, really hot. I don't want to burn my mouth, but I really want to put it in my mouth, like right now. It's so good. The onions are soft and a little bit tart, and you can taste the green pepper and the creamy goat cheese with the sweet potato and the sea salt. It's just perfect. I'm gonna eat more of it now. Bye.